Just going to show the correct way to do LWN Colorado, Holden, Colorado engine cam belt. Because this intake cam is actually not doweled, so it can go in any position. If you mark it, it can still be out a couple of teeth, like half a tooth, and cause fuel economy or performance problems. So this is just held in with a bolt, done up to 20 Newton meters plus 60 degrees. This plug here comes out of the front here, out of the exhaust cam, and then you need to put a locking tool in. That one I bought off China and was actually in the wrong spot, so I had to cut it and weld it in the right spot. This is a good branded one, Toledo, but be wary with the Chinese kits because they don't put them in the right spot sometimes. The little man has welded it in the wrong spot, but I've modified it to work. The cams are actually gear driven off each other, so if you lock this, the intake will be fully locked off. So what I like to do is make sure the timing marks are in the right spot, because the crank is actually really hard to see from the top. The fuel pump's not too bad. Here's the notch, here's the mark there. If you get this out of whack, you might have a bit of a shake because your fuel pump's not in time, so the phasing's not quite right. That's the reason they time fuel pumps. It's not the end of the world, but it can cause problems. So I've got the crank locked off as well. You pull this bung here out beside the starter motor and then wind a bolt in right there. And this bolt, the bolt goes into a very specific spot to lock the crank off. See there? Goes right into the side of the crankshaft so it can't move. And even if you have it like 1-2 degrees out, that will not wind in there. So it's quite important to get it perfect. And to put the belt on, I recommend leaving this finger tight. And then you can start at the bottom, around the fuel pump, around these two, leave this loose, and then the belt will actually guide it into the right spot. And that way you've got your cams in time with the block, then tension this, then tighten the bolt. So the crank is locked and the cam is loose, but the cam's also locked with the from the exhaust cam, with the cam locking tool. Fuel pump mark lines up. You can see the crank line marks up, but you won't be able to see that if it's in an engine because it's too hard to put your eye at the right level. Now you can tension up the tensioner to a little indicator. Lines up with the slot, like that. Then you do the bolt up with the Allen key still in there, and then you can crank the top cam bolt up. Easy as. Once the belt's on, you've pulled the locking tools out, you want to wind this over once, twice, right there, and then make sure your tool goes back in the same spot, which that one does, and I'm sure this one will as well. Yep, mint.